Hello and welcome back to more Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth. Well, last episode we began the first case of the game, which is Turnabout Visitor, and today we will be continuing the first case of the game. I would assume finishing the first case of the game. I can't imagine the first case is going to run longer than 2 episodes, but even still, here we are, March 14th, 4:18 a.m., Prosecutor's Building, 12th floor, hallway. We've just been kicked out of the office by Jock Sportsman.
What is with the prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable.
Please maintain your professionalism, detective.
I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence, pal. You'll see, sir.
Well, we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir.
True. So then, what now?
Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway.
Huh? Really, sir?
For example, this hallway. The linchpin of this argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door. Begin investigation. Prosecutor's Building, 12th floor hallway. Okay, can we talk to you? We can talk to you. We should probably look around first, though. Okay, so actually no. Let's talk to you. I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case. I've always been a big fan of this courtroom, but this is like a dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth. Oh yeah, that's right. I guess she never did get a case. She never, yeah, because in Lost Turnabout she was, the prosecuting attorney was Winston Pain in my ass, and in the Recipe for Turnabout case it was Godot. I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I shall jog her memory by showing my notes to her through the present button. Okay, well, we can definitely present things to her. What will we present? We present the master key. Present. There we go. So when did you discover that the master key was missing? By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that between those 2 times, it was not just gone, but still, okay, the key went missing from approximately 1 a.m. until 2:30 a.m. Okay, good to know. We've gained a new piece of logic. Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window. Always, you say, except for this time, correct? Well, I admit that I was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I had used it that I left it sitting out on the ledge. Did you use the master key? Yeah, what did you use the master key for? That's probably what we have to talk to her about. The victim. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him a couple times, before when I had to go to Mr. Portman's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir.
That sounds like fun! Just once, I'd love to play with them.
It sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass him the ball, sir.
On second thought, I don't think I'd have a fit in all that well with him.
Alright, use the master key? What did you mean by you used the master key? Oh, I had to use it to open the door for the prosecutor who had forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Ah! What is it? That's right, I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key. It was Mr. Portsman, sir. Ah, how convenient. What? Please tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly. Forgetful Mr. Portsman. It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so we came down to security, sir. And that's when you loaned the master key to him? No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see.
And then, what happened after that?
Well, he called for me to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think. So, in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. This key was used to unlock and lock Portman's office at 12 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. Wait, hold, that doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute. I thought the key went missing from 1 to 2:30.
Talk about suspicious.
I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portman's door. Well, we can do that, certainly, but before we do that, I'm pretty sure we can connect some logic here. So the master key was stolen, and, oh, right, I have to, double tap it. Master key was stolen. Okay, so the key went missing from approximately 1 a.m. until 2:30 a.m., and yet, the key was also used to unlock and lock Mr. Portman's office at 12 a.m. and 1:30 a.m.
Methinks.
Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story.
What? No way, pal. I mean, sir. Aw, again, she's rubbing off on her.
You said that you locked up Mr. Portman's office at around 1:30 AM, correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time.
Wow, nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I totally forgot all about that. Well, thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right. It was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing.
And?
Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir.
Oh, you pretended?
Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir.
So in actuality, you never did relock the door then?
Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly.
Mr. Portman's office data. Okay, discovered in the hallway of prosecutor's building. Okay, so now we really need to go check the door. Okay, so you say that it was... I was trapped between Maggie and Gumshoe. Winston, pain in my ass. Nobody asked you to be here. Not a single... I can't even talk to him. Great, guess what? I didn't want to talk to you anyway. Is this Mr. Portman's office door? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. I'm assuming that this is gonna be, the door. Okay. Well, there isn't much to examine about a door, except the doorknob is a pretty important thing. The door's locked tight.
I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, Mr. Edgeworth.
This is the office of a high prosecutor, detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them.
Ah, so I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is.
Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from? Oh, toasted. Toasted by Mr. Edgeworth.
Okay, so that's that. Can we deduce anything?
Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold?
Let's find out. Point out the contradiction. Okay, so we have... Mr. Bird locked the door, mask key was stolen, so she cannot lock it. You know what?
There's a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. If what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is this door locked tight?
Huh? You know, you're right!
Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door?
I am certain of it, sir. I don't think Mr. Portman noticed it himself that I hadn't. Which means... What, sir?
It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that door Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one.
Ah, I see. So it's not... So... The door... So that explains how someone was able to get into Edgeworth's office without a key. But then why in the world... How would Maggie have confused... How would she have confused the two doors? That's my question. She opened a different door, but how can you prove that? We can check for fingerprints.
There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... We need to examine the...
prints on the doorknob.
The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything.
Hey, you! Yeah, you, pal! Do us a favor and see what you can learn from this, okay? So, what'd you find out?
Is there even such belligerent nostril flaring, detective?
Sir, I have found only Mr. Portman's and Mr. Face's prints on this doorknob.
So only two people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive.
Huh? I'm lost, sir.
Thinking logically, a certain other person's prints should be on this knob as well.
Well, if Maggie did fake lock the door, then Maggie's prints would be on here.
Now then, whose prints should also be on this doorknob?
One Maggie Bird.
Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent?
You mean?
Yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one.
Mr. Portman's office data updated in my organizer. Gee, I wonder what the other door she opened was.
What have we here?
Oh?
I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny.
Alright, well, there's a very obvious thing we gotta inspect here.
What is this?
Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy.
It looks like a note from the victim.
Yeah, and it's from Mr. Portsmouth. Note by victim data jotted down in my organizer. Okay, is there anything else that we can... I mean, I guess... I'm curious about this basketball. Why is
this basketball property of Mr. Portsmouth?
Yes, sir. He's always ready for a match. Basketball, soccer, dodgeball, tennis. It doesn't matter what sport it is, he's game. Although I think it'd be a little hard to play tennis with this ball.
That isn't the point you should be focusing on, detective.
You're right, sir. Now I know what I should be focusing on. Burn Mr. Portsmouth. Someone should teach him to clean his toys up after he's done.
I think we've reached the end of this conversation.
If I was gonna say the end of the investigation, like, no, I still have some questions. Well, that didn't lead anything useful.
What is that that looks like a basketball hoop to me.
I'm assuming if there's a basketball here, this is probably a basketball hoop.
What's this?
What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game?
That's okay, detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off.
Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk.
The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural.
Is it? Discovered in the hallway is it not supposed to be in this hallway? I was not under the impression that this is supposed to... Oh! You know what? I think I might have it. Can we go over to my door and check something? Okay, so I was thinking maybe we could find, like, if there's an imprint on the floor where a basketball hoop used to be, because the only way she would have made this mistake, the only way Maggie Bird would have made a mistake that massive is if it was too dark to see the room numbers or whatever, so she didn't look at the room numbers. She looked for something more recognizable, such as a basketball hoop. And so Portsmouth moves the basketball hoop from my door over to Portsmouth's door to make, or the reverse, right? So to make, basically, because she would look for the basketball hoop as an identifier of which door is which, right? Does that make sense? That seems to make sense. So then let's check I mean, I guess we can check the store anyway to see. I wouldn't invest until this every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Just to see if, like, maybe Maggie's prints will be on this one.
I don't see any signs of forced entry.
And according to the guard, no signs of the lock was picked either, sir.
Meaning that the door really was opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob?
Apparently the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wiped, they think. How interesting.
Whoever this thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind.
Okay, that didn't yield me as much results as I had hoped. Is there anything else here that we can look at? I can examine this thing. I wonder if it's unexpected. Oh wait, there's a thing there. There's a thing underneath here. It's the missing file. Isn't that the missing O-series file, sir?
No doubt about it. The bloody murders mark it clear as day. There seemed to be a few pages missing. A thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind.
So what are these O files about, sir? I guess they got something worth stealing in them, huh?
Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine.
Huh?
They belonged to the high prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were.
That means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right?
It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing.
I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. Well, if this series has taught us anything, it's that, old cases tend to have a pretty big impact on the current case. Okay.
Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely.
Huh? How so, sir?
In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case.
You know who the killer is? Well, Mr. Edgeworth.
As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsmouth.
What? Mr. Portsmouth? I knew it! That was exactly what my logic sense was telling me too, sir. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir.
That is anything but logical.
That is purely emotional, my good friend.
Lady and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door.
March 14th, 5:12 a.m. High Prosecutor's Office, Room 1202. Mr. Portsmouth, I finished processing the bloody letter, sir. Okay, I'm gonna change this guy's voice because I can't do the voice I did yesterday. My voice will actually die. So if we're gonna do if he's gonna be a jock, I can make him like, alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here, dude. And make him totally nonchalant. Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this. Oh! Ow! Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsmouth! We got you now!
Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is that some kind of sick joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jack Portsmouth, that you are the guilty party in this case.
You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you could stay if you promise to stay out of our way.
You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Whoever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years until he met one Mr. Phoenix Wright. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. It really teaches me I gotta stay on the lookout for the false accusations, you know? Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be losing that mouth of yours for, that is now, is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything?
Yeah, we'll start talking and I'll happily prove some stuff. All I need is your faulty logic.
I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me.
No, there's a mountain of evidence that points toward you being the culprit, you dingus.
Besides, how, may I ask, do you realize I unlocked your door and get
the master key. Legit the master key. Like, it's just your whole scheme where you move the basketball hoop to trick Maggie into going into unlocking my office is my mistake.
Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I got work to do, so we're done here.
No, we're not done here. We are very much not done here.
Sorry, but we're not finished yet. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something? I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on, with evidence.
Oh, with pleasure, my good friend. Okay, Mr. Portman's rebuttal.
I have no idea what's...
Oh wait, I just gotta skip to... Where do you say... How do you get in here? You say... How may I ask you first? I unlocked your door. I got in here. I'll tell you how, with a little thing called your scheme involving the master key.
Objection! I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, Ernest. Wait, hold on a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely, you were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
You directed Maggie Bird.
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bird open at that time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we?
I'm certain that it was Mr. Portman's door, sir. And why are you certain of that? I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir.
See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? And how do you suppose I did that?
You just moved the basket
by switching the number plate on our doors, for example.
That's right. They do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not, in fact, mine.
You moved the basketball herp. Yeah, that's the thing, a basketball herp. No, you moved the, where is it? The basketball hoop. What? The basketball hoop, sir?
It's quite a peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building, which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. And it's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor.
Yikers. That's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door was open, something had to be. Yup, that's exactly what we said.
There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure. I see. So that's how you sow suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. But I think your conjecture's a little off the racetrack.
Oh, really? Challenge accepted. Conjecture's rebuttal, and what would that be?
Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time.
Don't we have a note saying that's not true? Let me read it again. Yeah, it looks like you're out. So no, nice try, buddy. You were not in your office the entire time. And you wanna know how we know that? Well, where else could you possibly have been? Methinks you were in my office.
You don't have a single
Yes, I do. I very much do have a single reason to suspect you.
So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he?
Yes. Yes, he does.
I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket.
Well, in that case, oh.
And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears.
My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday.
please calm down, for I intend to show who is the one who truly covered in slime here.
Alright, here we go. Rebuttal. Okay, so you say you were in your office the entire time, huh? Methinks you sit upon a throne of lies, because we have a note here saying otherwise.
That was a lie. What are you talking about? How was that a lie? This is the note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsmouth. A note? It was left under your door. Or did you not notice? And right here, it says, "But you're out." You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you, and what were you doing? Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you. That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence. No way. This is a proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you.
Well, there aren't any prints on your door, so that's a pretty major thing. And also, my door had prints wiped. I probably should have presented my door, because my door was the one that actually had prints wiped clean, but yours should work.
I had to dust it for fingerprints. My door? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? Well, they had to do with anything, you absent. Let's put it this way, if she really wasn't the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Further, all the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. Detective Faith found you out, possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsmouth, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him, and I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, nobody gets away with committing murder in my office.
Funny. Yeah, what a funny thing that's happening right now. And just what's so funny, pal?
Well, that look of stiff seriousness in the face of this office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me, is simply too much to bear.
I would love for you to tell me what that escape is. Mistake is.
There's just nothing else like it in the world. What?
Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all and even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already.
And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down as well.
Eh?
I'm a little obsessive compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched.
Have you been established as someone that's being a neat freak? Because I don't seem to recall you being someone who was, who is a real neat freak. Anyway.
After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own friends would be on there.
You made that up just now, didn't you?
Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses...
Yeah, oh yeah, you're a real genius, buddy.
I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse.
Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size.
But you can't prove that, can you?
Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir.
Portsmouth makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi.
But see, you might have gotten away with it. But now you're gonna start talking, and now we're gonna find a contradiction.
Airtight, you say? I only realized I had one just now as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner.
Well, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Okay.
If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 AM, correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's a perfect alibi.
So, interestingly enough, I didn't actually see any contradictions there.
Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Just take a gumshoe.
Sir, yes, sir. I'll check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's only Mr. Portsmouth said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him around 2 a.m.
You see? All the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. Well, not on the surface. Maybe I probably just have to press some more information. Alright. No research, can act this office at around 2 a.m., correct?
You are correct, it was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time.
I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2.
I'm giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2.
And it was then that you had an unfortunate confrontation at the gunpoint with the culprit.
It is as you say, however.
Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw?
No, the game kind of deliberately obscured the victim's, the killer's face for me so that I couldn't see it, but, you know. Well, no, I mean, wait, no, it didn't. It obscured the face for me when, and it showed someone pointing a gun at Edgeworth, but it did not obscure your face when it actually showed you, you know, pulling the trigger, so that's how that works. Anyway,
it was pitch black, so couldn't act.
Well, also you were facing the other you weren't looking at him, so you couldn't have possibly seen it.
Oh, come now, I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you?
I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here.
Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
At exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. I'm just gonna press everything. Unless I'm just blind, I don't see any contradictions yet.
So you paid the criminal affairs department a visit?
Yeah, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct.
We already asked around, I'll just press everything. There's gotta be a contradiction somewhere.
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony.
It was just as I said, right?
Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time.
See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve.
But it would have been real nice if you had opened with that, wouldn't you say? We could have avoided this whole mess.
Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi.
What's wrong? Why the sudden look on your face?
Can you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we've reached the end of the line and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there.
Sir.
Please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle.
Maggie!
Detective Gumshoe!
Did I fail? I must have missed something. There's no way.
Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn the situation around. If I only had a clue, did I miss something that can help me cast down on his alibi?
The intruder may not Mr. Portsmouth, then who could it have been? Okay.
I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic.
Okay. Okay. Select 2 leads to connect. Well, okay, let's think. So, we know it's him. We know it has to be him, because the game showed us that it is him. So with that in mind, we only have 3 pieces of logic. What could it have... on the victim's gun I found could have been another... Yep, that's it. Okay. There were 2 bullets fired, right? Two bullets. One in the bookshelf, right? Yeah, one on the bookshelf and one on the painting. But there was only one shot from the gun that was used from the gun the killer used, right? And he used the victim's gun. So if there were 2 shots fired, then someone else would have had to be there. So the person who had his gun to me, had his gun to my back, necessarily been okay. Let's just connect these 2. That's gotta be it. So that doesn't prove anything. All it proves is the person who I ran into was not him, which could be true because we never saw his face, but we did see the killer's face.
There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt that the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person. which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Maybe the victim and his killer weren't the only visits to my office tonight. And that actually connects to the other logic we had, right? Because fire arranged once before and once after the murder. Right? That makes sense. Here we go. Now we're making progress. 2 different people. Here we go. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun, and then killed him with it. And once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back. Mr. Portsmouth, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses? Mr. Edgeworth!
Sir, what are you saying?
This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case.
What do you
mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief.
A thief? But, sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? That I really hate the fact that it moves so slow.
Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. Again with the stole in my office.
What do you mean 2?
It explains both why my cells were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsmouth tricked Mr. Byrne and gained entry into my office. Now you're leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsmouth. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsmouth was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time.
So then, this will be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right?
Correct. And then, just as when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith?
But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir?
He probably had business with Mr. Portsmouth, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed someone's coming from my office, which would be my guess.
Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right?
And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out.
Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsmouth, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsmouth was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing.
Ah, he's freaking out now.
This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsmouth wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind.
You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that?
But if things were as simple as that, then all would be resolved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated.
There was another?
Visitor, sir?
Yes, and the other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsmouth left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so, they stole the master key from the security guard's room.
Ah, that makes sense.
And then
I just assumed that Portsmouth would have done it. It's like, oh, key's gone, what are you gonna do now? I guess you're gonna have to leave it unlocked. But that explains it.
And then entered my room and stood to his shelves. This is the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize.
Stolen no file, right, sir?
Correct. Only, just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter.
So the shelves getting messed up twice in the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times?
Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsmouth? The person I met was just a thief, and was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
What's so funny, pal?
Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything.
Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all.
But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Oh my god, will you shut up already? Supposing if, and that's a big if, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence.
And what would that be?
Your supposition that I was the first visitor.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir.
But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point.
Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must.
You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct.
Okay, back at it again. Portsmouth's Alibi Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. You gonna dig yourself into a deeper hole?
The thief you're into should be a real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now.
No, because somebody was murdered. I don't care about the thief.
You have to pay myself, but I've already said I was training in my room, and when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs.
Okay. I'm probably gonna press that, because I need to hear more about the alibi. If the whole point is to unravel his alibi, then we need to figure out.
So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course, now isn't the time to be wasting on dead-end discussions. I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we?
Oh. Yeah, I haven't even started presenting evidence and he's already freaking out.
I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
Like I said, no contradictions yet, but I am gonna press the thing where he says he's at the Criminal Affairs, because there's no way. We know we have to get him to say more about the alibi, because we know it's not accurate. So, down at Criminal Affairs. Tell me more about that.
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and he was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what of the evidence he brought? They were things related to yesterday's case, just 2 items ago.
Ah, gotcha! Oh no, buddy. I think you may have forgotten, but
I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by.
And last time I checked, 2 does not equal 3. So, you want to tell me a little bit more about that? Or are you not going to add that to your testimony?
Interesting, this piece of me seems to push the lead slip through the cracks.
He brought me 2 items. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Only 2 pieces. I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsmouth, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's the piece I think you should read. Carefully.
It says that Mr. Faith is bringing 3 pieces.
Yes, and this is the victim's real or dying message to you, Mr. Portsmouth. I can't believe you conjured up by symbol of the arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence?
Ha ha ha.
It's... You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe.
You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Gotcha now.
Well, don't come any closer, I'm warning you.
This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me.
No.
Hey, what's this? Hear this on him, sir.
Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide.
Why would he hide something like that?
There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber, because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer.
He's scared. He knows he's caught. He knows he's been cornered.
Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin.
What do we got? Nothing. Okay. Nothing on this. Can we rotate it around? Ah, we have some blood. That's blood, isn't it?
Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh.
You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood?
No, you got it all right.
No, we got it all right, buddy.
No matter denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video?
Yeah, it's totally suspicious.
Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we would examine this tape for fingerprints.
Buddy, just give up. You're done. You have nowhere left to run.
If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. I'm...
just a bunch of eyes. Oh, I don't believe you're. Oh, he just ate the metal. Great, now he's gonna choke to death. Okay, interesting. March 14th, 5:47 a.m. High Prosecutor's Office. Room 12-2. I believe this case is solved, friends. Mr. Portsmouth has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir.
Very good.
And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back, and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood in there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints on as well.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir.
It was nothing. I'm just sorry to got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies.
No, it was nothing. Really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a holdup or a hot situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Well, it's a work in progress.
So because we should have hired a different person for security detail.
You know something, sir? Mr. Portsmouth really was one corrupt prosecutor.
And why would you say he was corrupt?
Well, I heard that there was a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir.
Forged evidence, huh?
And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons.
Oh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession.
We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office.
Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up.
Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something.
Yeah, it was to steal the file. This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes.
Oh? Well. With Mr. Portsmouth not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this.
Huh? And Mr. Portsmouth isn't the bad guy?
I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. You betcha. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence, the stolen file. Oh wait, no, it was on the first page.
Take that!
I still don't know what this is all about. The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night.
Yeah, I wonder who it was.
And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint?
Mr. Edgeworth, sir.
Yes.
I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir.
This card.
What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there?
That was a voice crack. It's not just any bird. It is the mark of the raven. A three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective.
Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about?
Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is a noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about the thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of sorts. The thief is always performed in silence, and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although, it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance.
Hey, Mr. Edgeworth! Look! Something's written on the back!
What? Let me see.
It's a location of where the thief put the stolen files!
So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu? Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few keywords are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago.
Oh, buddy. Oh, you have me hooked. Oh, okay. This game is awesome. This is freaking incredible. I must admit, I was a little nervous about playing a spin-off about Edgeworth, because Edgeworth himself as a character is awesome. But game-wise, I didn't know how they were going to differentiate between him and Phoenix, and this is awesome. I'm not disappointed. I'll say that much. This is the logic system, the investigation in general, the rebuttals, the arguments, the presentation. It's just so good. I'm hoping that Edgeworth, Gumshoe, and Maggie are going to be a trio for the rest of the game. And it looks like, according to the save screen, Franziska von Karma might just be making a return as well. And that'll be awesome. Okay. I can't wait to keep playing. So, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time to catch you all tomorrow for some more Ace Attorney Investigations. Miles Edgeworth. Goodbye.